Good afternoon, everybody. Edward Leos here, publisher of the Hotel Guide and your host of Travel Talk. Excited about today's podcast. A friend of mine that I had just connected with, and I'm actually excited about some of the things that we're going to be bringing to the table. But Liz Galloway with brand Sanity Media, love the name. How are you doing, Liz?
I'm really good. It's nice and sunny here in Seattle. So got out of the rain from yesterday, so I'm feeling good.
Nice. Yep. Sun is always a good thing. We had here in Texas where we are, I guess. It rained all morning and then it cleared up and got all sunny. So everybody loves sun. I think that's always a good thing. So happy to have you on the podcast. We've talked offline before, and you just have such a great and fascinating story. And I thought this would be great for some of our guests to kind of learn a little bit about some creative people in the world who love travel and combine them into a business. So why don't you give our audience a little bit of background on who you are and maybe how you got to where you are, Liz?
Sure. I'll try to make it short and sweet. As you mentioned, I'm a multi-passionate person. I have a lot of different things that I like to do and that I do actually do for work and my life. I'm usually talking about other people and promoting other brands of my
Yep.
work, so I'll make it quick about me. But I'm someone who's passionate about wellness, health, adventure, storytelling, and I've worked in some capacity in these industries for over the past 20 some years. I have a public relations agency that's typically focused on brands that are in travel, adventure, outdoors, lifestyle, luxury, and just similar industries around that. And then I also founded a nonprofit that I'm really proud of that provides scholarships to people to do retreats and expeditions, adventures, and similar things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do. They all support mental health improvement. And then more recently, because I guess I decided I didn't have enough projects to do, I now will be hosting and producing a TEDx Women's event in my local Seattle area later this year. And I'll be making that official announcement online later this week. So, really, I'm actually just announcing it for the first time here.
Oh,
Uh,
we get
so,
it on our podcast. We get the official announcement like you didn't have anything else to do. So that's
yeah.
amazing. I'm excited to hear about that. I didn't know about the nonprofit, so I'd love to delve into that a little bit because that really piques my interest. Wellness is important to me. Mental health is important to me as well. And nowadays we talked about this before. Experiential travel is so huge and integrated into everything that we're doing now. People just don't want to go to a hotel or a destination, and a lot of people are looking for outside the norm, if you will. So tell me a little bit about the nonprofit and how that all kind of came about.
Yeah, I mean, I think it came about from just what I do in my life. So me personally, I always am seeking out adventures and travel, and I've worked in that industry for many, many years, domestically, internationally.
Mhm.
And so I've been able to make a career out of that, but I also like to push my own personal boundaries. So I've done things like trained as a helicopter pilot. I went and got my jungle survival guide training in Panama, and it's been, jungle hammock living there for weeks. Just all kinds of adventures that I'm constantly seeking. So it all kind of came together that those things actually have helped me push beyond certain boundaries in my life and allowed me to kind of progress and do more things and grow from there. And so I wanted to provide that for other people. And a lot of people don't have the ability to go to like a lot of these events, retreats,
Yeah.
expeditions. And there's a lot of them and they're wonderful, but it really combines kind of the physical element with the mental element. And then that obviously with those, kind of the neuroscience, the connections there all help mental health improvement. And I think that's just a really important topic in our world today. And I'm glad that one, I want to talk about it. It's important to
Yeah.
me in my life. And I'm glad that other people online and in person are talking about that more as well.
No, I agree with you on that. I think it's a slow stigma that's kind of going away, but I think more people are coming forth talking about it at all levels, and I think it's important. I'm again a holistic, the wellness side of things. There's a lot of ways for our bodies to heal each other. And I'm a big believer in that. So I think we're speaking the same language there. But also when you get into the natural environment and you're talking about, being one with this planet it's a pretty powerful tool. And I love the fact that you're doing that. That's amazing. I didn't know that about till we get on this podcast. So even the guy who's doing the show learned something new.
I thought I'd throw that in there, just a little something
You
extra.
certainly did. But that's amazing. I'm 100% proponent. We need to talk about that offline about how we can align and promote through the hotel guide as well. Because I know you're always about with your company
Yeah.
brand Sanity. You're talking about promoting other people. How can you get them on the shows and stuff like that? And I know that when we chatted earlier, it was just a no brainer to have you on Travel Talk as well for you personally. So tell me a little bit about the agency, some of the things that you're doing there, maybe some of the stuff that you have on tap for 2024 that maybe align with everything that we've been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, so let's see. We'll start with a little bit of a concept for the business. So, coming from a marketing background as well, like yourself,
Yep.
we're very aware of like the unique selling proposition, right? I'm not really going to get into that, but I just believe for me, like the way and why I founded my particular business is I've been in the industry for 27 years, as I mentioned, and representing travel brands and all of that. And it's provided me an extensive range of experiences that I believe that other people within public relations in my industry don't always necessarily have. And so I've gathered also a lot of contacts and, my little black book in that to really get brands that I work with great mentions and be able to get them focused on giving them real personal experiences that they deserve and curating a public relations strategy that really fits them and not just simply kind of just putting information out there as a media mill. I think one of the really good things, and we've touched on this as well, is I love telling stories about the founders and their founding inspiration and how that resonates with people, right? Because it all comes back to the inspirational stories. So, and a lot of people, they feel like public relations is notorious for like people not really knowing what we do or what that entails, and sometimes it is harder to measure than like a digital ad on Meta, but the power of storytelling is really at the heart of that. And so I named the brand Sanity Media, one, because it's easy to remember.
Yep.
And then it anchors you in the remembrance of how running a business for yourself and then growing it is getting noticed really can make you feel like you're not sane, So we like to tell people keep their brand sanity and then concentrate on the things that they love to do. And then we get them, those mentions and growth there. So I've got plenty more on tap for 2024. We can dive into that as well if you'd like to hear a little more of that.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole premise. We want our guests to know a little bit about some of these, I like to call influencers in the hospitality industry, and I definitely see you as one of them. So you got 2024. We're oh gosh, we're about to knock on the next month already. So this year's moving along. But yeah, what are some of the things people can be looking forward to?
Well, for me, one is just the excitement of working with my travel and luxury clients. They're international all over here, and they usually are just unique brands that have different stories to tell. So one, I'm really excited about that. I also am really excited to be hosting and producing the upcoming TEDx Women event here. And though, it will be within the agency of what I do, it's also just spreading that word a little bit more and connecting with local people, connecting with the local speakers, building a team around that. So I'm really looking forward to that and working with great media sponsors and other sponsors on that event. And then I will also be connecting with other people throughout this year and continuing to grow for the nonprofit more wellness retreat partners, getting them listed as choices for scholarship recipients to receive and to attend. So, if you're listening and you are a provider out there that has those types of giveaways or retreats and destinations, I'd really love to chat about those partnerships. And it's not just, these aren't just to be donated. They are scholarships funded from, the nonprofit for those partners. So there's growth expansion and, really just a win for all involved and gives brand awareness as well. On my personal side, as I mentioned, I really do love to seek adventures or extreme adventures. So I'm always on the hunt for that.
Yep.
I think we chatted offline as well that I had just finished earlier this year an ocean yacht race from Australia to Southeast Asia. And so our vessel was raising money for UNICEF, and we came in third out of 11. So we were happy with
that's
that.
Pretty good. How long was that journey?
I think we were on the water, the actual race, about 26 days, and then there's pre and post on each end of that. So it was 24 hours a day. You race 24 hours a day, and you do shift work basically. So 4 hours on, 4 hours off, 6 hours on, 6 hours off, and kind of rotate throughout that. And so it's a lot of work. And
how intense is it? Give us a little tidbit on that event, because that's what piqued my interest when we chatted the first time. I was like, okay, this is someone who is definitely, when you said adventure, you are adventure at heart. So what give us a snippet of what that was like for our listeners?
Well, let's see. You're waking. Let's say you're doing a 3 a.m. watch. So your team comes down that was on deck while you're sleeping. You're trying to catch those Z's any time that you can in your small bunk. And what you do is you tie yourself up with the lee cloth. So when the boat is keeling over and typically on its side, you're not falling out of bed, and you are able to go ahead and try to catch a little bit of sleep. But you're up. You grab maybe some coffee if you're lucky. You get dressed. You're on deck, and then you're up there on watch. And sometimes it's just really fascinating. Sometimes you're just so tired,
Yeah.
that you're just trying to stay awake because safety element, be your team member and run the boat, because it takes people to be on each of those places to run the boat. But also sometimes you'll just be there looking up at the stars and watching all these constellations out in the middle of this massive ocean, um, just saying, wow, this is just a really unbelievable experience. You just feel it really gives you a mentality reset.
Mhm.
I feel like when I had come back from that, I had been reset to my factory settings, like my original factory settings. You know what I mean? But then there's other times where like you're going and you'll hit an unexpected squall in the middle of the ocean, and this storm will just wreak havoc. And the team that I remember, one time I was sleeping and all of a sudden we hit a squall. You're awakened from that because you hear the pounding, the noise. They're trying to get the sails down before they're torn off, or the kite that was
Yeah.
up in front. And you just hear all this noise, and then you pinned up it's so killed over on the side that I was actually pinned up against the wall and couldn't even really get out of my bed. And I wanted to capture some video and photos, so I was trying to get up and
Yeah.
get out there. And then all of a sudden, I've got a waterfall of ocean coming through the small portal that was just across the companionway from my bed, where I'm just in bed with an entire waterfall coming onto my bed. And I'm trying to plank myself across like straight with my feet to hold it shut while it was, well,
Wow.
trying to keep the water from coming in on the portal, trying to capture footage, and trying to actually get myself out of bed to get up, and if they needed help on deck
Well,
and such.
yeah.
But it's, so you have things like that, and then you have other nights where it's just nice and even, great wind, perfect weather, clear skies, wonderful starry nights. So it's excitement, and it's also a lot of work, and it's also just some relaxation as well.
You know what? I think you just created what it's like to be an entrepreneur in your description. I mean, I'm just like, I've been on that ride before. I've never been sailing, but that is a ride of like this journey with the hotel guy for 31 years, the ups and downs and the life of an entrepreneur. So I know you're big into adventure. So we got a couple of minutes left, but I do want to know what are some places or things you got on your bucket list for travel?
Oh, geez. I mean, bucket list. I think Kilimanjaro. Kilimanjaro has been on my
Mhm.
list. I'm trying to get there this year, but I haven't still like locked down the dates yet. Just a busy schedule. So it's like Kilimanjaro, and then Tanzania and Zanzibar right there. Just one long, big trip. I also like other kind of remote areas like Socotra, Oman, Jordan, Egypt, probably Greece. Also, I really would love to do Western Australia in Ningaloo to swim with some whale sharks and more. So definitely that one. What else? I mean, I think I see a lot more sailing and yachting in my life and just more
Yeah.
extreme adventure. So maybe like a long desert run or race, one of those out there, or some overlanding trips. Yeah, I mean, whatever I can get in there to fit with my schedule and get adventurous.
Well, that's the incredible thing is that you're in the industry and you're doing what you love and you're combining that with your passion. And that goes for both of us. I mean, being able to do what we do, I think a lot of people look at us and go, gosh, you get to do these fun things. I mean, it's work, obviously it is, but we love what we're doing. And that's the big difference. So many people in this world nowadays really hate what they're doing. And it's the passion's gone. Again, the mental wellness side of things becomes an issue with a lot of things. How do you cope with life and everything? And also being a leadership and a business coach myself, I deal with clients on that aspect as well, is getting them through the muck, if you will, and kind of getting their best self to the next level. So I really applaud everything that you're doing from the business, which is how we first met, but then obviously the nonprofit. We're definitely going to talk about that offline and how we can align with that. And then the TEDx, you know, talk there in Seattle, I think is amazing. So you have a lot of great things coming up. I'm really excited that we connected. For all the people who are listening and on the show, what's the best way they can find you online, website, or what?
Yeah, I think the easiest way is just to go onto brandsanitymedia.com, and you can just email or fill out a form there. I will get those directly, or you can check out the nonprofit at wellmindproject.org. And you can also reach out to me there as well. So always love to hear from people. I love learning about others. And, I just really believe if we support each other, we can all rise up and support each other.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. That's my philosophy too. Don't want to be at the top of the mountain by myself. Rather be there with a bunch of friends and people that we did it together. So, Liz, it has been an absolute pleasure. 15 minutes goes by way too fast. But I want to thank you for being on our episode of Travel Talk. I have a feeling it won't be the last time with all of your adventure stories. We're going to want to bring you back on for sure. But, Liz, thank you for being on the show today.
It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Perfect. For all of our listeners and readers out there, continue to follow us, continue to like and share this content. You can always find us at thehotelguide.com. But as we always like to say, travel, make memories, because that's what this life's about. And until next time, we'll talk soon. Take care.